The Feast Week presented by Lowe's. We're here at the Advocare Invitational, the 13th of its kind. The Blazers of UAB coming in undefeated at 3-0, taking on the mighty Florida State Seminoles, nationally ranked number 14 in the country, and also undefeated so far this year. We welcome you inside, everybody. Mike Morgan alongside the coach, Tim Welsh. And Tim, when you talk about Florida State, my goodness, where do you start? They're so deep, they're so talented. Terrence Mann has to be the guy, the senior. He lets it all go.
You talk about their seniors, and it starts with Terrence Mann. He's won a ton of games in his four-year career, and Leonard Hamilton is going to lean on him to do a lot of different things on the basketball court. Defensively, we know what he can do. He can guard perimeter guys. He can battle bigger and stronger guys on the backcourt. But offensively, too, he can step out in their positionless offense, handle the ball in the transition, attack from the wing, or score in the lane and get to the free throw line.
Been an entertaining tournament thus far. Villanova and Oklahoma State both winning in convincing fashion, and LSU finally wearing out the College of Charleston. So we've got Big East, Big 12, SEC, and Florida State will try to give the ACC some representation in the winner's bracket. You see the matchups tomorrow, Nova and Oklahoma State at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, and the winner of this game will take on the LSU Tigers. Florida State coming in undefeated. Seminoles fresh off an Elite Eight appearance a year ago, and so much of that team is back. In fact, 71% of their scoring back from that team that was one win away from the Final Four. Not surprisingly, the 7'4" Chris Kumaji wins the opening tip. Seminoles in white. We're underway here in Orlando.
Well, in order for the ACC to be represented tomorrow, they're going to have to get by a pesky UAB team that rebounds the ball very, very well for a team that doesn't have much size, but they're going to get after you on defense, get up and pressure the ball, and crash the glass with three guys.
Inside, shot missed by Kumaji. UAB does have four players averaging double figures, so you're right, they've got some guys that can cause problems even for a very good defensive team presented by Florida State.
Both these teams very good on the glass, almost +10 respectively.
Strong take, and Kumaji, if he didn't block it, he altered it. He does a lot of that. He's going to become one of the top 10 shot blockers in Florida State history when his career is done.
Leonard said, "What was that, MJ Walker? That's not your game that early in the offense."
This is the leading scorer, Zach Bryant, preseason All-Conference USA, working up top. Sullivan hands it off to Lovin. Lovin in the trees. Pivots, fires, and rims off. Tracked down by Forrest. Trent Forrest is a guy who's had a tremendous start to this, his junior season. And there is a look at the head coach of the Blazers, Robert Eson, the former star player at UC Davis. Got his big break in the coaching ranks from one Gary Williams, where he served as an assistant at Maryland. He's real excited about where this program is headed now in his third year.
He had a feisty practice yesterday, and Robert's a confident guy. He thinks that they can get pesky with their defense and hang with Florida State. They're going to have to really protect the paint, though.
Three ball from the corner. Seminoles have been lighting it up from downtown coming into tonight's game, shooting 43% from distance. This shot blocked. Looked like Savoy got his hands on it.
Just a little too quick as well. Good push by Bryant, but maybe he's not going to get easy shots on the first or second pass.
Forrest stepped out of bounds. Leonard Hamilton, 17 years in Tallahassee, coached in Miami, had a pit stop in the NBA, and trying to make it to another NCAA tournament. The only thing that's really been missing from his resume is a trip to the Final Four, and again, they came very close last year.
Doing a great job early, Florida State, of just closing the gaps, containing the basketball, not letting it get all the way to the rim.
Walker leading the break, kicks out to Savoy on a three. P.J. Savoy shooting 53% from behind the arc. One of the all-time great three-point shooters in Florida State history.
That was a great job, though, by M.J. Walker. Dribble driving all the way to the baseline, stretching the defense out.
Sullivan. Shot altered again by Kumaji. Three in the corner. Yes. Another bomb by Savoy.
You better get near PJ Savoy quickly in transition and get on his shoe tops. Make him put the ball on the deck.
Senior from Las Vegas, Nevada. The Blazers 0 for 5 from the field. And Florida State can do this to you. They can suffocate you defensively. They're so long and intimidating in the paint. And they're very scrappy on the perimeter as well.
With so many returning players, Florida State kind of had a rallying cry over the summer. Wait a minute, that was a pretty good feeling last year in the NCAA tournament, getting all the way to the Final Eight and giving Michigan all they wanted before falling by 4. And wait a minute, let's work to get past that goal this year. And the coaches have been so pleased with the effort and focus so far this season, and you've seen it with the results.
Well, they had a 4-year drought not long ago, not making it to the NCAA tournament. Now Leonard Hamilton trying to make it to 3 in a row. Coach, you were ready for that. I saw you were ready to die for that loose ball.
Well, I was ready because Leonard Hamilton had his team ready yesterday. I mean, they had a spirited 2-hour practice where there were no breaks. A lot of energy, a lot of focus, and a lot of defense.
David Nichols in the game for the Seminoles. They go 10 deep. You'll see wholesale substitutions by Leonard Hamilton, keeping a lot of guys fresh. Almost a 3-point opportunity for Lewis Sullivan. He'll go to the line for a pair. The senior from Hazel Green, Alabama.
Will Butler, Lewis Sullivan, some guys that get up on the glass. They kind of do a nice job of team rebounding. You saw a couple of those defensive possessions. They do a tremendous job of blocking out, kind of old school, build a wall in the lane.
For those that are maybe new to UAB basketball, it's a proud tradition. A program that's been to 15 NCAA tournaments, including an Elite 8. Of course, Gene Bartow, face and name synonymous with that program. They got a great arena, great facilities over there at UAB, and they believe that they can compete for a Conference USA championship and a trip to the NCAA tournament. Deflected pass by Jalen Perry out of bounds.
And Mike, on that possession, UAB is in an extended 1-3-1 with the long Maktar Gay at the top at 6'10". Florida State worked against this yesterday for a long period of time, trying to get the ball down the baseline, reverse it, and look over the top for that lob.
Cabangeli would start for about 300 programs in Division I college basketball, but FSU is so deep, he comes off the bench.
He's so deep, and it'll be a lot deeper when they get Phil Kofor back in. You know, the thing about Florida State, their ability to pound the ball inside is a lot easier because they have very, very good skill at the other 4 positions, and it gives their big guys some one-on-one coverage down low.
There's Biondu's uncle, Kembe Mutombo, longtime player in the NBA after Georgetown. He's got 2 cousins who played at Western Carolina and 1 cousin that played at Southern Indiana. But this is the guy that they believe has got an NBA future. Cabangeli's got scouts very excited about what he could do at the next level.
Run and jump after that missed the made free throw, and UAB doing a pretty good job of organizing, pushing it in transition.
Bryant's been quiet. Wide open 3 on the way and knocked down. A little bit of confusion defensively, and Maktar Gay knocks it down.
And Robert Eason doesn't mind that shot. Gay has good form and has shown an ability to make those threes.
And Florida State with a cool from the perimeter. Bryant. Good pass back up top to Tavin Lovin. Zach Bryant, preseason all-conference. Comes in averaging 15 points a game. Blow by, drop off, and a beautiful dime into the hands of Gay.
And Zach Bryant had his head up, under control, strength into the paint with the perfect delivery.
Nichols on the deep 3. Perry guarded by Polite. Blows right by him. Beautiful take that time by Jalen Perry.
The blow-by was there, but there was no help on the backside. Very un-Seminole-like.
Florida State forces 17 turnovers a game. They block a lot of shots. And this is one of the guys that blocks them. Gavin Gelly will go back to the free throw line, and we will go to a timeout on the floor. We're all knotted up. 8-all. Blazers, Seminoles in Orlando.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Advocare. Advocare, we build champions. And ESPN Wide World of Sports, champions made here.
It was a memorable year last season for Florida State en route to an Elite Eight performance. They defeated the number 8 seed Mizzou, the number 1 seed Xavier before knocking off Gonzaga, the number 4 seed. It's the first time Seminoles have reached the Elite Eight since 1993, and I remember that team real well. You're talking Charlie Ward, Bobby Sura, Douglas Edwards, Rodney Dobard, the all-time shot blocker in school history. That was a really good team, and it's been a long time since I got back to that point.
Coached by the great Hall of Famer, inducted last year at Florida State, Pat Kennedy. And those days well, the great assistant David Zimroth got right into the Team Florida days. Team Florida at AAU, great program back in the day. Charlie Ward, by the way, is now a high school basketball coach in Tallahassee at Florida High, and he is an amazing guy. If you've ever met him, he's the most humble superstar athlete I've ever met.
Right, Heisman Trophy winner, first-round draft pick in the NBA at the Knicks. I mentioned Bobby Sura. He's still the all-time leading scorer in Florida State history. That was a really fun team to watch. Seminoles had it rolling, and they hit kind of a rough patch there for a while. Trying to make sure who the last foul was on, so they'll go to the monitor for confirmation there. This Florida State team, you look at them on paper, you look at where they were a year ago, everybody they have coming back, the talented freshman you alluded to, Phil Kofer, they hope to have back. He's actually on the bench right now and not in a boot with that injured foot, the broken foot that he had back on October the 23rd. So that would be huge when they get him back. They certainly have Final Four potential in Tallahassee this year.
Well, coming off last year, just the feeling, the ability to get past that first weekend, that builds confidence in the program. The pressure is not on you now. You're going to go into that feeling like you can win, you should win in the tournament, not that you have to win to exceed expectations. And you're going to see it with this group. They've got the leadership. They've got very, very good balance in their scoring. You know, Leonard's teams are always going to play hard defensively. We know that. They have the size. They're always going to front the post and rebound the heck out of the basketball, but this team got a really good offensive flow as well.
Saw a shot there, Phil Kofer. That's a really good sign that Kofer is no longer in a booth. They're hoping they're going to have him back before the start of conference play. And there's a guy who does so much for him, a senior, 6'8" guy who can score from anywhere on the floor. Part of a great senior class that this Seminole team will showcase this year.
Well, I'll tell you this, Mike, early in the game, we've spoken a lot about Florida State, and rightfully so, because of their talent, their ranking, and just what you see out there on the floor. But this UAB team, I'm impressed. They are not backing down. They're not intimidating. They're intimidated. They're attacking. They're running their stuff. They're undersized playing this Florida State team, but they're feisty defensively. Now they're changing defenses again. Here's the 1-3-1.
Seminoles have plenty of different guys who can attack it. They are so deep in the backcourt. Quick three on the way. And there's the Blazers. Will Butler grabs the carom. Now Bryant on a stop and pop. That would have given UAB the lead.
Well, that was good look by Bryant and good push in transition. Florida State's got to be patient against the 1-3-1.
Nichols gets bumped. Will they give him the bucket? No, they'll call it on the floor. So no free throws upcoming. Foul on the floor. Then you see look at Coach Robert Eson, and he told us yesterday, he said, look, we feel like we can match them physically. I think you and I were kind of giving a double take on that one, but he said, if we just make them beat us from outside, we're going to be okay. We feel like we can rebound the ball well against them. We're not intimidated by their size. He felt very confident from a physical standpoint they could play with him.
Well, he learned his lessons well from Gary Williams. Think Gary Williams' teams were ever intimidated? No. So Robert learned his lessons at an early age from Gary.
There's a guy that can intimidate you. Terrence Mann, a career 57% shooter from the field.
He always seems under control, but he has that ability to elevate, but with smarts.
Terrence Mann's mom is in the stand. She's the women's basketball coach at Rhode Island. She made the trip. Nice backdoor cut and a foul. Beautiful feed by Mokhtar Gay.
We talked about it in the open. Terrence Mann's ability to score from the perimeter, put the ball on the deck, and then finish in traffic with a bigger player on him. A little Princeton-like for UAB.
Scott Grayson, the lefty, too strong on the first, a 6'5" sophomore out of New Jersey. Western Kentucky, the team picked to win Conference USA this year. One-point game.
Like what Robert Eson's doing, he's keeping Florida State off balance. Florida State is prepared for this, but that's one thing to be prepared and another thing to attack the 1-3-1 and be patient.
Well, it's not easy to throw it above 7'5" Chris Kumaji, but it just happened.
Well, Terrence Mann was a little bit too far out, and he had two long arms right in his vision. That's what Leonard wants to do. He wants to throw over the top against this defense. See, he's got three defenders in his area, and in the backside of that defense, Grayson at 6'5", obviously giving up some inches to the big fella.
Like every year, Leonard Hamilton has got a couple of trees in the paint. There's a block shot for the Seminoles. Off and running, sets up an open three. Kumaji with a flat-footed rebound. Out of bounds to FSU.
He just reached over the top, but then he didn't gather himself. He kind of faded away as he tried to finish the play.
Kumaji will be the first person in his family, his village, his city, and his country to earn a degree from a university in the United States. From Chad. And Kumaji thunders one home on an alley-oop.
It wasn't over his head. It might have been, but he reached up and punched it home.
Butler finds Bryant. Bryant, swing pass. They whip it around into the corner. Shot clock down to 1 and a turnover on UAB.
Zach Bryant's doing a good job of running the team, but this is great scouting and also great length on the out of bounds. They kind of get dragged underneath, and whoops, you better protect the rim with that man in the neighborhood.
Walker on a spinning move to the basket. Draws contact. MJ Walker, the sophomore, by way of Jonesboro, Georgia.
Well, Mike, this is what you call keeping the game simple. Ooh, another area code up there. Big fella, raise the roof.
Seminoles on top 14-11 over the Blazers of UAB. The winner will take on LSU tomorrow. Quarterfinal action here on ESPN2. Mike Morgan, Tim Welsh, the fourth and final game of the day. Villanova, Oklahoma State, LSU, all chalk so far. Florida State trying to keep that streak alive of all four favorites winning today. Seminoles no stranger to this event. They won it back in 2009. 2 years ago, we had the Florida Gators here. They made it to the championship game before losing to Gonzaga. And then last year it was Taco Fall and UCF enjoying life not too far from campus. Inside, Kumaji makes it look awfully easy.
He's got to understand that Florida State's going to take advantage of Kumaji down in the box. And for them, I would send that second defender down there quickly. The ball enters, make him a passer down low, see if he can make that next play from the low box.
Pearson from long range and a brick. That's a true freshman taking a very opportunistic shot.
It's a freshman that's going to see the bench.
Yes.
At the next horn.
Pull up from 15 off the mark. Another tough shot. These are two difficult shots fired up by UAB. And Florida State's going to make them pay on the other end. Ball never touched the floor. Raekwon Gray on the flush.
A good timeout by Robert Eson as his team was losing their way on the offensive end. 2 straight possessions, horrendous shots. One pass and contested looks leads to this. An easy one for the Noles.
Looks like they're going to have a tremendous season.
Hold up, let me get up in it now.
Somehow this one seems different.
I'm feeling free, I'm finna bring it now.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge. Indiana takes on #1 Duke, Tuesday at 9:30 on ESPN.
Indiana Duke, no doubt, will be must-see television. Hoosiers and Blue Devils. Duke in a classic game in the final. And Maui losing to Gonzaga, but still an ultra-talented team.
That was the tough turnaround of playing Maui and fly it all the way back home and have to tee it up again. Those are better served for your team when you're playing somebody in a bye game, but there's no rest for the ACC Big Ten teams.
Shot clock at 2. Off of Florida State out of bounds. It'll be Blazers basketball. This is 3 straight possessions now. UAB has not gotten a decent shot.
Which is surprising because early in the game, they were running their offense very, very nicely. Zach Bryant was under control, getting the ball reversed. Now he's back in the game. I think they're going to settle down. But very good timeout by Robert Eson, understanding they need to settle down.
And then Florida State forces a turnover. Jalen Perry coughs it up. Again, Florida State will make you look bad on offense. They will force you into turnovers. They came into this game forcing 17 turnovers a game. They're so long, they're so quick.
Well, they are, and they're smelling blood a little bit. UAB came out, they weren't intimidated, but when you start taking quick shots, that means you're giving in, and Florida State understands we can amp up the pressure.
There's a strip and steal by Lovin, and then UAB gives it right back. Blazers haven't hit a field goal in over 5 minutes. Florida State has, including a 3 there by M.J. Walker.
M.J. Walker really come on this season. Started out very, very well. A lot of confidence. At the end of last year, he went into a deep shooting slump. But an important player offensively for Florida State.
Bryant tried to sneak one in the forest. And it'll be out of bounds to UAB. Lovin checks into the game. Perry goes out. UAB's just got to settle down a little bit.
Florida State has a little bounce in their step right now. They're up in the passing lanes, rotating on the pass, not the catch, and using their length to close the gaps quickly when UAB tries to penetrate.
Shot clock at 5. Another tough shot. Florida State has so many rim protectors, it's tough to get it in there. And then on the other end with a full head of steam, Raekwon Gray, all 6'6", 260 of them. draws the foul.
He can score. There's no doubt about that. And you Florida State fans are going to like Raekwon Gray as he matures into a ACC player. He's got that old school Mark Aguirre look, but got that sneaky quickness, as you see.
And at Dillard High School in Fort Lauderdale, same high school as one Eddie Jones. Tomorrow, kick back with a plate of leftovers for these two big college football matchups on ESPN. Undefeated UCF taking on South Florida at 4:15, and then, a great one in Morgantown. How about West Virginia and Oklahoma with a trip to the Big 12 championship game on the line to take on the winner of Texas and Kansas. Big 12 trying to make sure they don't get shut out of the playoff this year.
State expected Zach Ryan to play with a lot of energy and just extra focused play. He wanted to come to Florida State, right down the road near Jacksonville. And so far, he's done a nice job running the team, but hasn't been able to get loose for any open touches.
Shot clock at 5, and there is a field goal finally for the Blazers. Jeremiah Bell, the transfer from Milwaukee. First field goal in 6 minutes and 18 seconds. And then a turnover.
You don't see that very often. Trent Forrest just trying to overextend on the perimeter, but UAB just trying to find anything. That wasn't easy either. Just a good play by Bell on the fadeaway.
Bell just found out he was eligible a couple of weeks ago. Transfer from UW Milwaukee. And nowadays, it seems like all these kids are getting waivers. I don't even understand what the rules are anymore.
I don't think the coaches do either. There's no really rhyme or reason. But
no. We are 10 o'clock on the East Coast, and we welcome you to the 13th annual Advocare Invitational. UAB getting a bucket there to make it a 7-point game. Mike Morgan alongside Tim Welsh, the fourth and final game of day number 1 here in Orlando. So far, the favorites have won all 3 games. Villanova, Oklahoma State, and LSU. The winner of this game will take on the Bayou Bengals tomorrow.
Well, I like that they've loosened some of the waiver stuff, making players eligible. I mean, players have some sort of reason and it's legitimate. Let them transfer and play right away. Why can pay?
Yeah, McGilly, second effort gets the bucket, and then UAB just playing a little too quick, turns it right back over.
The power of Florida State is present on the defensive end, but down low on the box. Power at the rim and a soft touch.
Mike Morgan, Tim Welsh back with you here at the Advocare Invitational. Florida State leading UAB 24-15. So just what do we know about UAB? We mentioned they hail from Conference USA. Last year they were 10-8 in conference play. They picked up 20 wins in Coach Eson's second year as head coach. Zach Bryant leads the way. Perry and Sullivan also returning guys, and a guy to look out for this season. They're very high on is the freshman out of Kentucky. It's Tavin Lovin, who we've seen on a couple of buckets here today. They're 3-0 coming into this season. They have 4 guys averaging double figures. Mercer, New Orleans, and West Alabama, but obviously a different level of competition here tonight.
Well, they're going to learn how to play with 9 new players. They're missing William Lee and Chris Copley from a year ago. And very difficult league. Marshall's good. Won a game in the tournament a year ago. And a tough out as well in Conference USA.
Marshall, Western Kentucky, a proud program, expected to lead the way again this year. The Hilltoppers always seem to pluck out one elite recruit every year.
Again, pressure of Florida State just bothering UAB. UAB, though, getting down and dirty on the floor.
If you want to play for Leonard Hamilton, you better enjoy hustling and playing defense. That's just part of the DNA of this basketball program. Whip pass into the corner, sets up the three, and it's rattled home by Devin Vassell. Vassell's the freshman from Sewanee, Georgia.
He does a lot of things that just wonder what his game is. Obviously, he's long, he's athletic, but he just gets tip-ins, makes plays on offense. He seems to be in the right place at the right time.
There's a three, one of the rare good looks for UAB today. Scott Grayson drains the triple.
They finally took their time and got the ball reversed to the other side of the floor, drew the defense, and found the open man.
First three of the night for the Blazers. Florida State trying to respond. Look at that follow-up slam, but over the back is the call. Still a heck of a highlight for Devin Vassell.
Well, that is elevating over a old school block out. He was blocked out. So when you're blocked out, what do? You go over the top. Oh, goodness.
Good call. Fun play to watch.
Well, Devin Vassell, Florida State coaches in the summer, when they were doing their planning, they thought that they were possibly going to redshirt him. But no more.
Vassell's got a cousin, Moose Weeks, who's currently a member of the Harlem Globetrotters. Played his college ball at another Conference USA school, Middle Tennessee State. Bell up top, just being hounded. Nichols in his drawers, finally goes down low. And Will Butler will draw the foul and go to the free throw line.
Good job by Butler in traffic with in the trees, staying with it.
16 fouls now on Florida State as Butler goes to the free throw line. Out of Jamaica, a 6'8" junior. Second foul on Savoy.
I think this UAB team is impressed as they get into conference. They've got some good balance with Bryant, Lovin, Perry, and Sullivan. All guys that can score in double figures. So teams aren't going to be able to just totally concentrate on Zach Bryant. And 9 new guys. Robert Eason will figure out his rotation as they move forward, but you can see they're pretty well schooled on the defensive end of the floor. They rebound the ball very well. Here again now with the extended 1-3-1.
It hasn't been a pretty half for UAB, but here they are. They're only down 7. Well, they hit 1 3-pointer. At times they've had some sloppy turnovers. There's a walk. Picking the turnovers.
The 1-3-1 has been good for Robert Eason and UAB. They've only thrown it up there 3 or 4 times. You don't want to give a team a steady diet of one defense against a good Florida State team, but it's definitely kept them off balance offensively.
As a coach, what do you like about the 1-3-1 defense?
Well, it makes you stop. And it takes you out of your flow. And sometimes they'll go 1-3-1 into a 3-2 on ball reversal. So you can't get overcomplicated offensively against it. You just have to get in your spots, have your concepts, get the ball in the gap, and then reverse it and try to get it down the baseline and up on the rim.
Well, Scott Grayson had a notion, and then he saw 7'4" Chris Kumaji coming at him and just threw that up and closed his eyes. Hoop in the harm, a chance for 3 for David Nichols.
UAB kind of got frozen on the weak side there. David Nichols didn't think he was going to take this opportunity, but nobody came over to help, and he got all the way to the rim. Grayson completely off the bounce, but UAB's done a pretty good job on penetration of sending that help defender and meeting the ball outside of the paint.
Ten-point game as we near the 5-minute mark of the first half. And it's been quiet so far. Bryant, at time, a foul called. I'm not sure if that was away from the ball or was a foul called against Bryant. It's on MJ Walker regardless. That's his second. Bryant 0 for 6 from the field, and this is their leading scorer. Preseason All-Conference USA. This is a guy you'd figure if UAB is going to pull off the upset tonight, is going to need to come up huge.
He's got an explosive first step and drive into the gap. He was looking to drive and kick, but he'll be pressing a little bit while he shoots the basketball.
Still looking for his first point of the game. UAB very active in this zone. But there is the antidote. Terrence Mann right down Broadway, and a chance at 3 the hard way for the senior.
Well, he is smooth, and he just takes his time and waits for that opportunity. Just sees that little bit of a gap and slithers it home all the way to the rim.
A lot of Florida State fans here, including the mother of one Terrence Mann. That is Daniel LaForce, and she's got to take some time out of her schedule. She's the head coach at the University of Rhode Island, so it's not just a matter of the travel. She's got to get away from a hectic schedule as the women's coach for Rhode Island, and she's cheering on Terrence Mann. Great contingent of Florida State fans here today.
She's not taking too much time off because she's a heck of a coach. She's very well regarded in the women's ranks.
Seminoles, of course, the closest team here to this event, just a couple hours away. Nearby Tallahassee, Perry forcing that one. And tracked down by the Seminoles. Here comes Polite.
And that's what that defense does. It just makes you uncomfortable, takes you out of your rhythm, and that was not a good decision by Perry.
And Kamaji called for a clear out, an offensive foul on Florida State. Mentioned the Seminoles, strong contingent of fans. Florida State's had a lot to cheer about, not just in football, but basketball as well of late.
Down on the low box, and Sullivan just sold it. Big fella, that was a pretty good move, but Sullivan took it right in the chest, that position.
And you see the Florida State. They've actually had a lot more to cheer about in basketball than football. In fact, I ran into a longtime FSU fan in the hallway earlier, Corey Roman, who says she hasn't missed a FSU basketball game in the state of Florida in 10 years. Doesn't matter where they are. If they're in the Sunshine State, she's going to be there cheering on her Seminoles.
Zach Bryant, a nice soft floater in the lane, finally breaks the ice.
Air ball 3 that time. That's Wilkes. Offensive rebound, one of the few of its kind for UAB. And Maktar Gay, active, draws the foul. Timeout on the floor. 3:27 to go. FSU on top by 11.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings.
Beautiful sights here around Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Seminoles on top of UAB, 33-22 with 3:27 to go. Will Wade looking on, doing a little extra scouting. You can watch tape all night long, but there's nothing that's going to substitute seeing things in person, right, Coach?
Well, there's no doubt about it. This is the only time of year that you can actually live scout, like the old days when we used to go scout everybody in person, but it's nice to be able to get courtside, relax, especially after a W, and a little smile.
The Wade's team looking awfully good on the win over the College of Charleston. They're 5-0. Seminoles undefeated as well, looking to improve to 4-0. Blazers hanging tough here in half number 1. First free throw is up and in for Maktar Gay. LSU Florida State could be just a tremendous matchup tomorrow if that turns out to be the case. It's the kind of matchup you would see deep into an NCAA tournament, I believe. You like the UAB zone?
It's got you You know what it does? It keeps you off balance. They're changing defenses, and I think they were just kind of in a soft man that time. But the problem is that they have is down low. Their one-on-one coverage. They've got to send that second defender because FSU continues to be patient and is going to attack the mismatches around the basket.
Bryant milking some clock. Shot clock at 5. Gonna have to do something right here. And it's done by Scott Grayson on a beautiful drive and finish.
It was very, very good half-court execution that time by UAB. Spacing the floor, reversing the ball, attacking the gaps before the defense could adjust.
Out of bounds by Bryant. Quick hands by the sophomore.
Look at this pretty easy opportunity is they reverse the ball quickly and then they attack before the weak side could come over and protect the rim outside the lane.
Forrest has been pretty quiet in this first half. Not that time. Takes it strong, but missed it. And out of bounds to UAB. Great defense by the Blazers.
Well, the Blazers, I'm impressed with their defense. Even though they're down 9, they are in a stance, they're communicating, they're doing a great job on the help side, they help each other. They've been overwhelmed a little bit by the size of Florida State, but fundamentally they're rock solid.
Pull up by Perry. Man, skips it over, sets up an open 3. Too strong. Offensive rebound, Florida State. Man tied up, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Devin Vassell again in the right place at the right time, making that play happen on the offensive glass. And then the nice pass inside.
Florida State coming into this game, a rebound margin of +10. And again, with all that size, all that length, not surprising that that would be the case. Coming up at the half, our E-Trade halftime report. Highlights of the Tulsa, Nevada final, plus updates on the Bad Boy Mowers battle for Atlantis. And of course, highlights from here at the Advocare Invitational. Nevada, led by the Martin brothers. I was eavesdropping on Chris Patola, Seth Greenberg earlier today. They were making the point that the best 2 teams on the left coast don't reside in the Pac-12. It'd be Nevada and Gonzaga. How about that? Caleb and Cody Martin, a heck of a duo for the Wolfpack. Shot clock at 5. Bryant's going to have to make something happen. Crossover, throws it up there, did not get it off in time.
Now UAB, when they've tried to just dribble drive from the top, they have not been successful in the half court because Florida State just smothers you. We talked about UAB being fundamental defensively. Florida State is fundamental and athletic.
Coming up on the final 60 seconds of half number 1 here in Orlando. Man goes right in and finger rolls it home. Nice take by Terrence Mann.
He seems to find a little bit of room when there's nothing there and then makes it look very easy.
Deep 3 on the way by Scott Grayson. Nothing but the bottom of the net for the sophomore. He's got 11.
Like Scott Grayson, I think UAB thinks he could be potentially a very, very good wing scorer.
Shot clock at 7. In the lane, throws it up there, count the basket plus the foul for Trent Forrest.
This is what Trent Forrest does, he's rock solid. Back in the old days, Bobby Bowden probably would want to pluck him, play a little cornerback, because he's rock tough. Chipley tough, as they say in Chipley, Florida.
Chipley tough. I'll tell you who is tough, his cousin, Amp Lee. One of the all-time leading rushers in Florida State history. Amp Lee was a part of those. We mentioned Charlie Ward earlier. Amp Lee played with Charlie Ward on the gridiron not the hardwood. Florida State fans can never get enough Charlie Ward references. We'll see if we can come up with a couple more in the second half.
Back in the old days, it was okay to play a couple sports at Florida State.
Coaches frown upon that now, right? I don't see a whole lot of two-sport guys anymore.
Deion Sanders wanted to play a little bit. He thought he could always play little hoops, but he was afraid he might get hurt.
Seminole fans giving a little tomahawk chop as we near the end of half number one. That shot was chopped down, but it will be a block foul. As trying to take a charge was David Nichols.
Good, strong drive. Under control. Defense was there, but just a touch late.
Jeremiah Bell to the free throw line, the junior from Louisville, Kentucky.
Well, for Nichols on that play is when the Florida State coaches go back to the hotel tonight and do their grading, he will get a negative for late help on that one, even though he gave up his body.
Nichols into the corner, good if it goes, but it's an air ball fired up by Vassell. Overall, an entertaining first half. Florida State will take an 11-point lead to the locker room, 42-31. Our halftime score as they've led at the half in every game this season. (42-31). Our halftime score here from Orlando. Studio's got you covered the rest of the way. Feast Week presented by Lowe's continues. The Advocare Invitational, the 13th of its kind, here at the ESPN Wide World of Sports in Orlando, Florida. Mike Morgan with Tim Welsh. Great to be with you. Florida State leading UAB 42-31. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We could not do this broadcast without one Larry Turkey Bird providing inspiration and overall improving team morale with our entire broadcasting crew. My morale is always high when I'm next to this man, Tim Welsh. And Tim, Florida State's morale has been pretty high this year. They've looked awfully good. They're coming off an Elite Eight performance from a year ago. And so far, so good through the first 20 minutes.
You can tell this team has been there.
Yep.
You know, they expect to win. They play with a lot of kind of quiet confidence. And Terrence Mann, you can tell, is the son of a coach. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he just plays with that certain savvy that's hard to teach. He finds the door open, it closes, and then he'll find an opening just to finish the play. And always under control with a little flair on top of it, and can make things happen. And then the big fellas down low, they throw the ball inside. Abigail, and you know, he has a nice flair, and just the ability with the flair, the fade away. And then his partner in crime, Kumaji. That's not fair when you can rise up that high and then raise it up on top of it.
Not sure if anybody was going to stop that on the UAB roster, but overall UAB hanging tough. I mean, they're doing all this when their leading scorer, Zach Bryant, has been held in check, just 2 points on 1 of 7 shooting. So give the Blazers credit. They're still very much in this game. But Florida State, when you look at this team, Coach, where do you find the weakness? I mean, I don't know where it is with this group.
Well, offensively, they're much improved in the last couple of years, and you can see that they have a nice flow. They have four good perimeter players that can space the court around their two big players, whichever one is in the basketball game. And then defensively, that's where you really have a problem finding a weakness, because they attack, they pressure, they're interchangeable parts, and then they have the bigs that protect inside, and then fundamentally rebounding, they're as good as you can find.
UAB will have the basketball first here to start the second half. Same starting five for each team, and the Seminoles almost pick up a pilfer on the inbounds pass as Savoy had that one in his crosshairs. Foul away from the ball on MJ Walker.
Florida State foul number 23, MJ Walker.
Three fouls now on MJ Walker. It's hard to really worry about foul trouble when you're talking about Florida State because they're so deep and they have so many interchangeable parts. Open three set up. And one you really would love to see UAB knock down. Jalen Perry's not going to get a better look than that one.
UAB foul number 3.
Well, when you talk about their depth, you know, it's an interesting depth because their bench players in certain spots are a little bit more offensive-minded than some of their starters. And so Leonard can mix and match with this group and really they don't drop off any defensively and sometimes get better offensively.
They played 11 guys in the first half, and keep in mind they don't have one of their best players, Phil Kofer, available. That's how deep Florida State is. That's not going to be called over the back because Camachi just reached over the defender, and then he's going to show off the hook shot. I don't think Robert Eson agreed with that no call.
He didn't like the no call, but also looked like Kumaji might have shuffled his feet inside.
UAB responds with a layup down low.
One thing though UAB has to do, they have to crowd him a little bit more. I mean, it's very difficult to defend him as far as denying him on the box because he's just so big, but he's got too much space after he catches the ball. You've got to send that second defender at him.
Savoy got hit in the face on that three-point attempt and no whistle. Umaji dribbled it off his foot that time. 8 turnovers on the Seminoles.
Well, when you teach blockouts, you do the blockout drills, you put the bubble on top of the rim. This is what you teach. Drive your man back, kind of lock him, push him back, but here's where Robert Eson wanted the walk down low.
Blazers get a bucket from Zach Bryant. And then an offensive foul on Savoy. 3 fouls on PJ Savoy, and UAB down 9 with the ball. A little something going on right now for the Blazers.
Well, that's a couple possessions in a row that Florida State went too quickly on the offensive end, and then for UAB, Zach Bryant calming down a little bit after a little bit of an erratic start.
Bryant probing, lost it, turnover UAB. Zach Bryant has just never gotten into the flow of this game. And maybe, like you said, Coach, might be pressing a little bit, knows that he's kind of carrying a heavy burden to lead his team against a very talented FSU squad.
This is the team that he wanted to play for as well. It's always in the back of your mind, and sometimes that makes you press a little bit too much.
Nichols, great passing, and a short on the finish was Vassell. Bryant, offensive.
And Zach Bryant, not a good decision. Should have widened the floor out a little bit. He had a trailer, another man to pass the ball to. Instead, he just drove the ball right at Nichols. Florida State was on the retreat, and as an experienced guard, you've got to make sure you know the numbers.
Could have gone pull-up. We saw that earlier in his repertoire. Instead, he just ran right over the defender. An easy call for the officials. Man. Into the corner now, it's Nichols. It's Forrest. Whips it over to Mann, 4 on the shot clock. And Mann just gave it away. Here's Bryant again, full throttle. Bryant that time shows an electric finish with the left hand.
Great play, running to the rim, creating that space and using the left.
This is the closest the Blazers have been since the 8-minute mark of the first half. 7-point game. And a timeout called. 44-37, the Blazers making things interesting.
On the point guard, it has great explosion and the ability to knife through in trouble.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings.
Larry Turkey Bird looking on, enjoying the action here in Orlando. 13th annual Advocare Invitational. Mike Morgan with Tim Welsh. It's FSU leading UAB 44-37, trying to join the ranks of Villanova, Oklahoma State, and LSU on the winner's side today. All the favorites have won so far. UAB trying to spring an upset here in the nightcap. Down on the shot clock for the Seminoles. Man up top to Vassell. Now Forrest with 4 on the shot clock. Vassell on a 3. Got it at the buzzer. Big time shot by Devin Vassell, the freshman.
Well, that's just another one of those things that Vassell does. Just a clutch player at the end of the shot clock. Good timeout by Leonard Hamilton, understanding his team needed to settle down a little bit on the offensive end.
Rainbow 3. That ball nearly hit the lights up top. Man, kick out to Vassell. They work it around to Nichols. Man on a 3. Got it. Back-to-back triples for the Seminoles.
Same spot on the floor. UAB did a very good job on the previous possession. Just staying rock solid defensively. Now they've got to get out and contest.
Tough take. A little bit of a force by Zach Bryant. And now the Seminoles give it right back into the hands of Scott Grayson, and then a foul on Man.
UAB crept back in. Leonard Hamilton, quick timeout, and then a couple threes to open up the gap for the Noles.
Welcome back inside the HP Fieldhouse. Florida State leading UAB by a score of 50-37, 15:21 to go. Seminoles back-to-back three-pointers to get back into double digits. A 13-point cushion right now. Strong take off the mark. And a tough rebound in traffic by Vassell. Here come the Noles in transition. Open 3 on the way. Almost a third corner ball 3. And Nichols attempting that one.
Both teams get sped up by a little pressure on the full court and a turnover.
That's one, if you're Florida State, you wish there wasn't a whistle, even though it's against UAB. That was going to be a little showtime on the other end.
A little bit too much showtime. Both teams more turnovers than assists, but Florida State's defense has led them to some easy opportunities.
Leonard Hamilton, former assistant at Austin Peay in the early 70s, longtime assistant at Kentucky. 4 years head coach at Oklahoma State, and 10 years at Miami. I forgot it was that long at Miami. Leonard Hamilton's staying in good shape for a man 70 years old now.
He was coached against Leonard about 20 years ago or more. Looks exactly the same.
I know, right? Baseline jumper hits the back iron. Nichols racing in the front court, leads the break, and a foul called as Vassell will go to the free throw line. Yeah, Leonard Hamilton, he tried the NBA 1 year with the Washington Wizards. That was back in 2000, 2001. They went 19-63. And then immediately took the Florida State job. A little bit of a rebuilding project first couple of years. just trying to find their way in the ACC, and it took time. And give the administration credit at Florida State, because you know how it is, Coach. In today's day and age, nobody has like a 5-year plan. If you don't win as a head coach in those first couple of years, they're already talking about you on the hot seat. Well, it took Leonard Hamilton 7 years to make it to his first NCAA tournament in Tallahassee, so they stuck by his side.
Well, again, going back to his Miami teams, you think about the length that he has here. He didn't always have that length at Miami, but one thing he had was great rebounding and defensive teams.
Seminoles enjoying their largest lead of 14 points. Into the corner, man, rocker step, takes it strong, wanted a whistle, didn't get one. And it will be Florida State basketball out of bounds.
What you need to do to get a foul, Terrence Mann took a forearm right across the middle of his chest.
And they're letting them play. I mean, a couple possessions ago, Savoy got hit in the face on a three-point attempt, and there was no whistle.
I know these officials want to get home for the late snack. It's almost 11 o'clock here, but come on.
Hey, we're ready for some turkey. Great block. Oh, a tremendous block that time by Mac Targay. He's played a great game.
I like Mac Targay. He's a keeper for UAB. There's no doubt about it. He's got a lot of potential.
Zach Bryant's a keeper as well. Started this game off slowly, but has picked up here of late.
On the attack, good handoff there, but on the recovery, Gay from behind. Body blow. Let him go tonight.
UAB kind of holding its collective breath here. Zach Bryant, a little gimpy, getting back up off the floor. That's a young man they cannot afford to lose. Already losing 2 all-conference players from a year ago to graduation. Zach Bryant saying, thumbs up, I'm good, let's play ball. We have a little discussion here. What's this all about? Trying to figure out who the foul was on.
I think they're trying to figure out who the shooter is, and Lewis Sullivan has stepped forward. Zach Bryant has to come out of the game. Okay, so Leonard got to pick the free throw.
Because UAB electing not to call a timeout. Use a look at the contact and the foul. See, he hits the deck hard there. So instead, it's going to be Lewis Sullivan at the free throw line. So you trade 83% for 78%.
Well, whatever Leonard Hamilton touches lately has been correct. Sullivan's got his nice soft touch, but UAB's physically, they have not backed down from Florida State. It's just execution-wise in the half court. They just haven't shared the ball enough, made good decisions.
Sullivan gets his free throws and then goes back to the bench.
UAB's got to be careful with this lineup, especially with Sullivan and Bryant on the bench. They really don't have a lot of offensive firepower on the floor.
Turnover into the hands of Bell. Bell will set it up in the half court. Around the ball screen, the baseline, and I'm not sure what that was, but Mel Pearson just threw it up there.
Now that's the problem when you've got your main guns on the bench. Where do you go?
I'll tell you where Terrence Mann went, straight to the basket on a two-hand flush.
UAB could probably use a timeout right now just to kind of get reorganized and get their scores back in the game.
Timeout Blazers with 12:35 to go.
Robert Eson definitely saw an issue out there on the floor, especially defensively, and man, just a little blow by and no help on the backside. Terrence Mann continues just to knife his way to the rim with hardly any space needed.
With Tim Welsh, Mike Morgan here at the Advocare Invitational, where earlier today we witnessed Villanova, Oklahoma State, and LSU advancing to the winner's bracket. Nova and OSU will lock horns tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. on ESPN. The winner of this game will take on LSU either on ESPN2 or ESPNU at 4:30 Eastern Time.
Oklahoma State very impressive defensively in the second half against Memphis. Just did not relent. Memphis basically they go to a spread offense and just tried to take Oklahoma State off the bounce, and they were not successful.
And when Memphis pressed, Oklahoma State just carved it up. Shot blocked. And it's a tough task for Jalen Perry if you're going to take it in on those trees for the Seminoles. You better take it strong. Inside, Kumaji, jump hook shot. Can't stop that.
Yeah, that's not fair. Low. There's no way Pearson can guard the big fella on the box. He's playing dead behind him with no support on the front side, and that's easy money.
Perry. Who's the tallest player you had to go against in your coaching days?
Tallest? We'll have to think about that.
We'll think about it over the break. We'll let Coach Tim Welsh ponder that one. Florida State pondering a win here in the quarterfinals. Seminoles lead at 55-39. Not a whole lot of guys who are 7'4" on planet Earth. Even fewer that can actually move and have the agility of one Chris Kumaji. Love the opening tip. No effort whatsoever by Will Butler. You got to know sometimes when you're beat. Kumaji's been beating guys on alley-oops tonight, using that 7'4" frame and incredible length and reach. That time might have gotten away with a walk, but offensive rebound, then showing the jump hook shot in his repertoire. Young man who speaks 5 languages fluently. And so far, he's been speaking a good game for Florida State tonight. 8 points, 6 rebounds for the Seminoles.
Well, they've made a concerted effort to isolate him on the box, and their wings and guards have done a nice job of delivering him the ball where he has a little space to move in the lane and finish. The key for Florida State on the season is just to keep him healthy. And you can see his ever-improving offensive game.
Here's Bryant back in the game. This is kind of a danger zone for UAB. You're down 18. A lot of time left, but you don't want to see that deficit grow. That'll help. Chance for a three-point play.
Leonard Hamilton did not like that call. He's going to get a little discussion out of it. It says, where was the foul? A little dribble drive. Not much there. Maybe on the drive out front, but Leonard still has the Hawkeye from the bench after all these years.
Lead down to 15. Slice dice special. Off the rim and out of bounds to UAB as Vassell could not hit.
Vassell kind of got off balance, drove into the lane, had some space, but just couldn't finish. He finds a way to get to the rim.
Always like the stories we talked about. There's a steal, another one. Raekwon Gray. And another trip to the free throw line for the Seminoles as David Nichols will fire up a pair.
Well, again, the pressure on the perimeter. Florida State with that length, but they don't gamble. Like, they just stay solid. The pressure on the ball, they don't overextend where they get beat, but they're in a harassing area where it just bothers your vision trying to make that entry pass to start your offense.
We're talking about journeys different coaches take to get that first key job. Of course, Will Wade, we talked about for LSU, never played college basketball, student manager, and works his way up. Robert Eson's another guy. I mean, he was a player at UC Davis, team captain there, but got that big break. Gary Williams of Maryland, and you as a former coach, you know what it's like to try to get that first big break in coaching.
Well, he's done a nice job at UAB. There's no doubt about it. He's an energetic guy. He's out on the recruiting trail. He's very well respected. And, Gary thought the world of him when he worked for him at Maryland.
Pressure, burst, pipes, and that time Bryant was in the middle of a Seminole sandwich and turned it over.
Well, the length again, but also Florida State with that kind of surprise pressure, and then all of a sudden you turn your head and they're going to slap the trap on you.
UAB getting a turnover of their own. Bryant all the way. Bryant gets hammered. Gray puts him on the deck where Bryant has been quite a bit in this second half.
Good job by Zach Ryan. Had his head up, thought he might dish it off, but he took the hit from Gray.
That's a big hit. That's 6'8", 260 coming at you, airborne. What about for you personally? Who was the guy that gave you your big break in coaching?
Well, had a lot of nice opportunities. Very, very fortunate. When you grow up the son of a coach, that's automatically you're going to the gym when you're 5 years old. That's your opportunity. That's your big break, and it points right to my father. There's no doubt about that. And very lucky. I've spent some time with the Hall of Famer Pat Kennedy from Florida State, and of course Jim Boeheim gave us a great opportunity at Syracuse, where we faced our biggest player. As the previous question that went unanswered, how could I forget Dikembe Mutombo at Georgetown?
Ball do not fly in the land of Mutombo.
And his nephew is a great future. There's no doubt about that. They love him at Florida State.
Follow-up slam and a foul for Tavin Lovin. A true freshman putting together a little highlight reel tonight.
I like Lovin. And Lovin, Bryant, Perry, Sullivan, they've got a nice core of players that in Conference USA, I think they're going to be in the top part of this league. And Robert's very confident that they can get there. And I like their defensive concepts. They just need to find a better flow on the offensive end. They don't really pass the ball that well, but they certainly defend and they can rebound.
Hey, that was on the 7'4" Kumaji. He's giving up a foot on that slam dunk follow. 13 points, UAB not going away. And a foul that time on Lovin.
Better get in the weight room. They're going to attack the rim against either of these teams because there's no open opportunities. The help side's coming and you're going to end up on your back.
Well, again, UAB came into this game thinking, hey, we can match them physically. That's what Coach Eson told us. They came in as a great rebounding team, and they've held their own thus far on the boards. Just a 6 differential on the glass in favor of Florida State. But Florida State has so many bodies and so much size, they can just wear you down over the course of 40 minutes. And that would be my biggest fear for UAB for the final 10 minutes of this game. Do they have the stamina to keep up with the Seminoles?
No, the other thing is they're not getting any easy open looks from the perimeter. 2 for 11 from the three-point line.
Just a force there. Rebound to Kamaji.
You just dribble yourself into trouble, and Grayson just got in there, didn't know what to do, so he just fired it up and hoped.
Kamaji, he knows what to do.
Well, it's one thing to be 7'4", 268 pounds, but it's another thing to be able to elevate and get your way all the way to the rim with quickness and power. Watch him come from the top part of the screen, and no one even tries to put a body on him. He just great footwork to get there.
He's come a long way, too. I remember doing a couple of his games a couple years ago, and he looked a little bit lost out there at times. The game still new to him, like so many players from that region. Soccer is more of a key sport. More skilled and polished now. Open three. UAB has gone cold.
They just wear you out with defense and aggressive offense.
Raekwon Gray, the redshirt freshman from Dillard High School down in Fort Lauderdale.
He's just got that quickness. He doesn't look like he's used the blow-by, but he lost the weight, and he's got that ability to have that agility to the rim.
Three the hard way, largest lead for the Noles.
Those guys that Florida State staff talked about, and they said, guys on the bench give us a little different look, more of a balance sometimes offensively, and Ray is one of those guys. He's not the best defender out there on the floor, but he can make things happen offensively.
Timeout called by UAB. Probably a good one at that, as the Seminoles now trying to pull this one out of reach, up by 20.
Well, it's just death by 1,000 paper cuts against this Florida State team, because you just keep putting the pressure on you. Even when they have little bad stretches of the game offensively, their defense never relents.
Battle for Atlantis tomorrow. It's going to be Wisconsin and Virginia in the championship game. And that's going to be one. Defense will certainly be key. I don't know, maybe first one to 55 wins that one.
Defense travels, Mike Moore.
Yes, it does.
That's why Leonard Hamilton is still in the business after all these years. And he's got an offensive team this season. But defense will win.
It certainly has traveled for Florida State throughout this season, going back to last year again in Elite Eight. And now Florida State, you know, they're starting to taste it. They want that Final Four, and they certainly look like a team that has the chance to do it.
Well, last year probably didn't surprise Leonard Hamilton, but it surprised a lot of people in the basketball world. And now you can see that confidence building in the program, that ability now to play at a high level all the time. And Leonard talked about it yesterday at length. He said, listen, we're building not only for the ACC this month. You know, they come out of this tournament, they've got to play Purdue. They've got to play an improved UConn team up in New Jersey. So their schedule is hardcore, and he's built this team to play a big-time schedule because he has a lot of confidence they can get back to where they were last year.
Savoy fouled on the take. Florida State just living at the free throw line in the second half. UAB a day late and $1 short, sometimes defensively, overmatched a little bit and perhaps fatigued as well. ACC is going to be interesting. I think, again, after finally watching Duke look vulnerable, you know, it wasn't just the Gonzaga game. I watched the game against Auburn, too. That was a very competitive game throughout. I think it was a 6-point differential in the final score. In other words, Duke is not unbeatable, and they're not going to run the table in the ACC. I certainly don't believe there's too many good teams in that league this year, but give me some teams you're looking for in the ACC.
Well, it has to start, obviously, with their neighbor down the road in North Carolina. Virginia, everyone knows that they're going to be there. They're going to play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder all season long because of what happened last year in the tournament. This team right here clearly is very good. Syracuse, even though they got beat by Connecticut, once they get Frank Howard back up and running, they're going to be a team that's in the top part of that league. There's no doubt about that as well. And again, the ACC is going to be one of the premier leagues in the country.
UAB will have the ball when we come back. 7:57 to play here in Orlando. It's all Seminoles.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Advocare. Advocare, we build champions. And Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here.
Been a good adventure thus far for the Florida State Seminoles. 20 of 22 from the free throw line. Seminoles have made a living at the charity stripe. And the defense has swarmed UAB offensively. The Blazers struggling on offense, shooting just 32% from the field. Jeremiah Bell at the free throw line for UAB. I want to pick up our discussion a little bit on the ACC this year, Coach. We've talked about Duke, North Carolina, Syracuse, obviously the Seminoles. How about the job Brad Brownell has done at Clemson and what to expect from them?
Brad Brownell has got that team, again, coming off last year, just the success built to it. He's been there a while now and got the team last year to a level that they hadn't been to, and now this year they're ready to take off again. And another team I really like is Miami. I think Miami's Jim Larranaga's teams are always very, very consistent. Virginia Tech, so impressive last week in Charleston as well. Just a lot of balance, a lot of defense, a lot of interchangeable parts for Buzz Williams.
9 teams from the ACC went dancing last year. Could be around the same amount again this year. Not much of a drop-off expected at all.
I think Chris Mack will have Louisville there by the middle of the conference. I mean, I like that watching last night. Tennessee wore them out because Tennessee's an elite team. Louisville really shoots the ball well, and Chris is an elite coach.
Under 7 minutes to go. As UAB have one more run in them. Kumaji down low, like taking candy from a baby. That's just unfair.
Well, it is, but UAB decided to not double him, and probably rightfully so. You average 8 points a game, you're going to send a secondary defender, then you leave guys like Savoy open up on the perimeter, or Terrence Mann or Trent Forrest, but great footwork, just presents that big target. Send that second defender. It's got to be before he's up above you, shooting that jump hook down at the rim.
19 fouls on each side, so both will have the benefit of the double bonus the rest of the way as Bryant toes the line.
When you have a guy that big and you don't have anybody to match up with him, which not many teams will, but they don't have anybody near his size around the rim, that you've got to decide after he starts beating you a little bit that you have to adjust your defense. And Leonard kept going into him because he saw that UAB was just going to allow him to catch the ball down in the box and with one-on-one coverage.
9 points for Bryant. Lead is 16 for the Seminoles. How about the state of basketball in the state of Florida overall? For years, Florida dominated the headlines under Billy Donovan. Mike White should have a successful year this year. Florida State, Miami, both poised for an NCAA tournament season. UCF very competitive in the American Conference.
And he picked to win the American. And
they've got a guy who's 2 inches taller than Kumaji in Taco Fall. He could actually post up Kumaji.
I'm sure the committee will find a way to match them up if UCF makes the tournament. They always like those intriguing matchups.
Zone showcased by the Blazers. See if the Seminoles can dissect it. Free throw line, turnaround jumper. That's one way to dissect it. Perfect.
Well, here's the deal, Mike. When you pre-scout Florida State, immediately say we have to keep the ball out of the paint. How do we stop them? They're highly potent offensively. You got to keep the ball out of the paint. But how do you do that? Because they move the ball very, very quickly. They space the floor. They're unselfish. They have attackers from the perimeter. They have shooters on the perimeter, and they have low post presence. So very, very good job here attacking that 1-3-1, spacing the court, taking their time, quick ball movement, hit the middle of the floor, bang.
Kumaji picking up that last foul. Incidentally, Kumaji is 1 rebound away from a career high, and that would also amount to his first career double-double. So Kumaji would love to make some history here in the final 5 minutes and change of this game. He's also 1 block away from reaching the century mark in career block shots. Savoy. Tapped around. And out of bounds to UAB.
Such a nice luxury, though, playing against this extended 1-3-1 to have a long ball handler and Terrence Mann at the top that will make the right decision. He just plays under control, ball fakes, sees the floor, takes it into the gap with length.
Kumaji, I think he just got his 100th block. And a whistle on the other end as Terrence Mann draws the foul. How much better can this Florida State team be with a healthy Phil Kofer? That'll be the question.
Well, that will just allow Leonard an opportunity to play bigger. You may see him at times play Kumaji and Kabengele together once they bring Kofer back into the lineup, but obviously another grizzled veteran who just has experience at one thing, winning.
Nectar Gage is fouled out of this game. Meanwhile, the Seminoles very cozy at the free throw line. It's the 23rd free throw attempt. Congratulations to Chris Kumaji picking up his 100th career block. All-time leader in that category is Rodney Dobart, and the reason why I know that off the top of my head is because I played against him in high school. Blocked a couple of mine.
There you go.
Which is probably not that hard to do, but I'm in his cookbook.
Florida State still up 18. Everybody in a stance, communicating, helping, active, rotating, focused on defense.
Bell, nice looking jumper there by Jeremiah Bell. One thing we haven't talked about with these matchups, we know what it means for the favorites, and of course, everybody wants to be able to cut the nets down and win these tournaments. I think it means a lot for the UABs of the world, for the College of Charlestons of the world, who are probably not going to win it. They know that it's a tall task to come in here and win 3 games, but there's a lot for them getting ready for conference play. We'll add a period to that statement when we come back.
Duke looks like they're going to have a tremendous season.
Hold up, let me get up in it now. I'm here to
Somehow this one seems different.
I'm feeling free, I'm finna bring it now.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge. Indiana takes on #1 Duke, Tuesday at 9:30 on ESPN.
Indiana, Duke, yeah, that's worth getting excited about, worth dancing about. By the way, everybody knows about Duke's talented freshmen. They've gotten so much exposure here early on, and justifiably so. But Romeo Langford, remember that name if you're watching that game for Indiana. Very special 5-star recruit. Archie Miller trying to bring in a new flavor to Bloomington and get that program back to where it used to be years ago.
Well, that's a good start. There's no doubt about it. But the whole ACC Big Ten Challenge is, I think, better than ever because the Big Ten is right on par, or maybe a dot better than the ACC. We'll see. We'll see next week. But I was already talking about playing Purdue. Coaches are always looking ahead while not letting the team look ahead.
Juwan Morgan, another player to look out for the Hoosiers. Big Ten a year ago.
And Kamengeli, they both do a very, very good job of rim running and then making themselves big and available in transition. And Florida State's guards do a great job of keeping their head up and always putting pressure on the defense, looking inside immediately out of their secondary offense.
Some of the backups getting some run now for the Seminoles, including Wyatt Wilkes. Inside Slam City for Kamengeli.
Jay Walker with his head up and playing unselfishly right to the end.
Uncle Dikembe Mutombo will be proud of that two-handed flush. 3 minutes remaining. Walker to Forrest. Forrest trying to thread the needle, could not do it. 3-on-2 for the Blazers. Bell takes it all the way. And the follow is good. Put up by Scott Grayson.
Shaking his head over there. Why are we forcing the issue? Up 20 with under 3 minutes to go. No reason to force transition if it's not there.
Scott Grayson very quietly, 16 points tonight for UAB.
Well, that's what these tournaments do, Mike. We talked about it earlier just before the break about the UABs, the College of Charlestons, even the Canisiuses of the world, trying to find themselves playing against a high level of competition on a neutral floor, but being in a hotel away for 4 or 5 days together and breaking down tape tonight and just immediately getting ready to tee it up again tomorrow.
Kamengeli, elbows at the rim, 6'10", 250 pounds coming at you. And a guy who's getting a lot of looks for the next level. Florida State has had quite a few big guys who have gone either one and done or two and done the last few years, as Leonard Hamilton's been able to recruit some very talented.
Well, the thing about Leonard's players is that they do a great job, their staff, of developing their bigs as well. Stan Jones is one of the best assistant coaches around, not only X's and O's, but player development. He really spent a lot of time with Kamengeli in the offseason, just working one-on-one, working on his footwork, his ability to get big down low, present that big body around the rim. Again, they just keep looking inside. They have the floor spaced around the bigs, and a little bit of a force there, but the ability just to put pressure constantly on the defense, and then here comes their defense again.
3-on-2. Vassell.
Well, they don't let up. Talk about maybe they forced the issue and made a bad decision up 20, but they have one mindset, attack on both ends.
Utah, Hawaii coming up here shortly from the Wooden Legacy. Right now on ESPN News. We'll switch you over to that game as soon as this one concludes. The final minute and change here from Orlando.
Anthony Polite in the game now. He's another guy that can give them some good offense coming in off the bench. He was injured last year, but son of the great Michael Polite, who I saw in the building, ex-great Seminole.
Our Advocare Invitational Player of the Game. How about the effort tonight, Chris Kumaji?
Well, the Noles fans are smiling, not because of the effort, because he is healthy, he's confident, he's happy. This is a happy bunch.
This is a happy bunch.
Well, you can see it. You get a feel. You've been around the game a long time. You watch practice. You talk to the coaches. Just the air about this basketball team is just a quiet confidence. They're unselfish. They like each other. And good minutes out of Nichols, the transfer from Albany tonight as well. I'm impressed with his attack mode.
I think unselfish is a great word to describe Florida State. You got a lot of guys on this team that are playing fewer minutes than they would ordinarily for a team that's not as deep. Would be putting up bigger numbers for a team that's not as loaded. But they all seem to enjoy their roles, and that winning cures a lot of issues with touches, right? Nice tap in that time by Kevin Gelly. 71% of the scoring from that team a year ago that made it to the Elite Eight is back this year, along with some talented freshmen. It's a good-looking FSU squad, and they're going to take on LSU tomorrow. I think that's going to be a fantastic matchup.
There's no doubt that's going to be a very good matchup, and two rock-solid defensive teams that can really play on the offensive end as well.
Final 15 seconds will run out, and Florida State will improve to 4-0 on the year. 81-63 the final score. The Seminoles have a date with the Bayou Bengals tomorrow. Some final thoughts, Coach.
Well, that man right there has to be feeling good about this basketball team, because they are riding high. They are taking what they did last year and moving it into a new season with an improved confidence. And this Final Four here in Orlando is going to be fun tomorrow.
No doubt about it. Two great matchups tomorrow. In the meantime, up next, it's the Wooden Legacy with Hawaii and Utah. Take it away, guys.